Is a tiny town of around 15,000 people on the remote northwest coast of Australia. It's a stunning place with endless beaches, incredible food, and anything and everything for the adventure traveler. Broome is actually closer to Singapore than Sydney, and it's a place known for its long-standing cultural diversity. That diversity all revolves around the pearling industry here, the labor they needed to keep it going, and the oyster, Pinctada maxima, the largest oyster in the world. At one point, the oysters coming out of here were responsible for around 80% of the world's buttons, as well as mother of pearl used for cutlery handles, mother of pearl inlays, and more. Before the pearling industry arrived, there was, of course, tens of thousands of years of Aboriginal history here. For these people, that pearl shell, not the pearl, was an identifier for their culture, their history, and their traditions. So, we're starting out with Johani Mahmad, Yaru Garajade Nil Nil and Bardi Man, and he's the owner of Mabuburu Tours, an Aboriginal-owned company that introduces his guests to the many layers of Aboriginal culture here.
My old people, my ancestors, we often say old people when we're referring to our ancestors.
Yeah.
My old people basically used to walk around with a ceremonial artifact, which is a pearl shell. A pearl shell hanging off a belt made out of hair. And so the men would wear that. There was art on the pearl shell. And so when people came through here in the earlier days, saw Aboriginal people with the pearl shell, hey, what's that? Where did you get that? And found out that these pearl shells actually came from our waters in this area right here.
Okay.
And so also a nice location with Broome being a bit of a peninsula, covered by right next to a bay and all these mangroves and everything, and obviously the habitat for the pearl shells. The people from this whole northwest region are the pearl shell people. And so any pearl shells you find as ceremonial, like, you know, in photos and videos of Indigenous people throughout Australia, we know that they've come from this region. So we've traded with our neighbours who have always had a respectful relationship with, and they've given us something for that trade, you see. So, and then they've traded with their neighbours, and then it's gone on and on and on, all gifted, and then it's gone all the way right past Uluru, down to New South Wales, right in South Australia. And these pearl shells
like this trade route of exchange going on.
That's right.
And in Yaru life, those day-to-day objects held an important role in passing the community's history down for generation after generation.
In our culture, in Aboriginal culture here in Australia, you'll often hear about storytelling, singing, dancing, and art. The reason why is because we never had a library in my culture. And so in our culture, the closest thing to a library is our art.
Gotcha.
And so our art might be on our artifacts.
Okay.
So our boomerangs or our shields and things like that. And so that's, we have a walking around with something that kind of tells a story.
Exactly. I asked you if you wanted to set them down. You said, nope, you know what, I always hold on to these because it's just what we...
Yeah, so these are what we use. So when we tell a story, quite often that story might have a song. And the reason why, you imagine talking to the kids who were all, 1,000 years ago, they were always in school. The school was wherever they were, so they're always learning.
Oh, I love that,
So you imagine telling stories, and you're telling a million stories, and all of a sudden it gets pretty boring, hey? And they get mixed up. And so, but if we have a story that has a song, well, it's not hard to mix it up, and it makes it interesting, especially if that song comes with a dance.
I love that practical sort of, how are we going to get the kids to remember our history, You
know, one of the other things that we don't really talk about enough in this day and age is that they're actually, kids and adults, everybody learns better in different ways. Storytelling, me telling you a lot of things might not necessarily be suitable for you to learn. So let's sing a song, let's do a dance, and you learn, because the way you think is different, So people are different, and different techniques work in different ways. So if we're combining them all in how we share and teach, then we've got a better chance of our next generations learning what they need to learn as a part of survival and, practicing and knowing who they are.
Well, and in stark contrast to the Western, certainly my European American background, where it's here's your lesson book, you're going to learn the stuff in this book the way we teach it to you. There you go. I love this sort of advanced teaching technology that's been going on for 30. How long do you talk about people being here?
Well,
like
you know,
tens of thousands of years.
People often talk about 40,000 years.
Yeah.
The reason why 40,000 years exists as a number is because of Mungu Man. Mungu Man is a fossilized skeleton that was found in like a Mungu lake, I think it is.
Okay.
There was a Mungu Man, and then there was a woman as well. And they've dated those back to be about 40,000 years. Then in the Pilbara, I think it was, they found an axe or a tool of some kind that actually dated back to 60,000 years. Oh, wow. So people use the number 60,000 years old. But hey, why does it stop there? Just because we don't have evidence that goes back further.
Totally right, yeah.
So we say more than 60,000 years.
Yeah.
But for me, what we say in our culture is we've been in these places ever since the beginning.